Hello friends, welcome back to the Rain Moon Oracle. I'm Rayo, and today we are continuing our Tarot Discovery series. We're back with the Sword suit specifically, and what we are going to look at today is the Ace of Swords. So of course we got to start at card number 1. So Ace of Swords, we got 3 cards today, and let's start with our keywords here. So Ace of Swords talks about inspiration, truth, clarity, that eureka, aha moments, ideas, intellect, determination, initiative, let's see, mental clarity, precision, will, well-spoken, not like I am at the moment, breakthrough, create and destroy, and justice, right? So obviously with it being Ace of Swords, we got that numerology of 1 here, which is our divine spark, that again, that energy, that new beginning. It's our starting point, it's our leading and pioneering, so that kind of just beginning piece, that beginning energy, that start of that energy moving forward, right? In terms of astrology, there is some heavy energy here in terms of Aries. We'll get to this is our less obvious one, and of course we'll get to the obvious ones in a second here. But Aries is just that cardinal fire energy in the first house, so that first association, that one association here. But of course, with it being the sword suit, that ties in with our air signs, so that is our Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And we've got a lot more association with Libra and the planet of Venus and kind of Mercury, Libra, because we're tying in with that justice piece here. So Libra rules over that area. And then Mercury tying in with, well, Libra's ruled by Venus, so that's why Venus is here. And then Mercury ties in with our communication piece. So just some associations that exist for this one. So let's look at our cards here. So I pulled a few different ones just to have some different pictures and imagery. So our first card here that I pulled is from the Light Sears Tarot. So this one is cool. I like the way this one let's focus back in on me, please. There we go. I like the way this one has kind of like the staircase, right? We see the light coming out, so we see that eureka, like aha moment present here, but also the determinations here, right? All these steps, this movement forward, the cycle that we see kind of in this reminds me of a shell, right? And the whatever shell, I think a nautilus shell, whatever one that has the like swirl pattern that goes down into the center. And of course we get like fancy numerology here. I think that is the divine ratio, if I remember correctly on that one. So that piece tying in, but we see this presence in the mind. This is like showing her kind of like brain, this female figure anyway, where they're showing the mind here. And the thought process kind of going on, how we worked our way up or down, depending on how you look at it, right? It could be both. Work your way up or down to this eureka moment, this aha moment, this insight, this intellect coming in. And we do see these different pieces of like intellect all around throughout the card, right? We see different like equations, we see different like little symbols here, we see different elements, just kind of like almost chalkboard writing on the back of the card through on like kind of like a blackboard almost. We do see a crow in there, which is interesting. So the imagery coming in, and that's flying is like air creatures, right? Tie in with our air element, or tie into swords, but also like a crow or a raven are very, very smart birds. So definitely tying in with that intellect there. And then that even like intuition, connection to like creative source energy here. So very interesting, cool card. We see the steps kind of at the back of the neck as well, right? So it's like that process moving up through the body into the mind, through the mind up to spirit and soul, and whatever word you want to kind of use beyond and stuff, as we get that light pouring out here. So very, very beautiful card. The next one I have is from the Tarot of Opposition. So this is our very classic imagery that is very similar to the Rider-Waite, right? So we see our sword in the upright here, being held onto by a hand coming out of the clouds. A reverse side, that's the hand still coming out of the clouds, but holding the focus, please. There we go. Holding the pointy, bad kind of side of the cloud there. The sword, I mean, here. So popping up the picture here, we see that counter. Of course, I really like the Tarot of Oppositions because it does show the positive and negative imagery with the card on the card at the same time, and the divisive, like showing of the negative and positive, or the upright and the reverse, is very interesting how it goes through each card, like this one being at a diagonal here. And the upright showing, okay, hey, we're firm, we're thinking about this. So it's a very similar imagery of like pulling the rock out of the stone, right? That Arthurian legend coming in. So it's like, okay, hey, we're pulling this sword out. We have this idea. We're moving in with this power and energy and determination. But on the other side, the reverse side, our negative side, that sword cutting, that sword hurting us as we're working through this energy, working through it's still power, right? Still power, but we're holding on to it in the wrong way. We're holding on to it in a way that is harmful to us and harmful to others as well. So I like the different color in the rocks too, showing that positive and negative, that's light and dark are opposites there. And you kind of see it with the way that, like, the mountains are too, right? We see these mountains on the back side of the positive side here of the card, and that like full grounded energy of the card versus the kind of more deserty, like spotty rock formations of this other negative side. So very interesting card. I like the Tarot of Oppositions because it does have very much all like the Rider-Waite imagery, are very similar to the Rider-Waite imagery, but just changes it up a little bit and shows the differences and features of a person maybe, or the situations, the environment, depending on whether the card is upright or in the reverse. So very unique card there. Our last card is the Ace of Arrows coming from the Wildwood Tarot. So this one was interesting because of the arrows representing the sword suit. It's still a weapon at the end of the day, right? Still something that can cut you, that can hurt you, but also a tool at the same time, like a sword is, like an arrow is. And the arrow here, the Ace of Arrows, showing that movement of the thought process, right? It's like it pulls back and then releases forward, and it's all that forward moving energy, ace energy in this case, and that forward momentum across this kind of beautiful plain water kind of environment here that has its own special meaning in the Wildwood Tarot. I didn't get too heavily into that, but that smoke here also kind of representing the mind, representing the air of the arrow that it's around its environment. So a very different, unique card all across all three here. We got a very classic imagery. We've got a very unique imagery that doesn't seem to fit at first when you're looking at the light Sears Tarot, and then one that's like a little different, a little like okay, I get it, but it doesn't, like, you had to take a second to kind of think about it with the Ace of Arrows. So other meanings for this card. So we've got a new solution, a new way of thinking, a new idea, creative thinking, new projects. We have that mental breakthrough. That's that aha, eureka moments, right? What I liked about this is a very interesting quote I found when I was doing my research. So the way we think controls how we perceive reality, right? So our mind, how it heavily influences us, how it influences us for how we move through the world, how we perceive the world. So very strong Ace of Swords energy, in my opinion. So good thing to keep in mind with this card is can heal hurt with words, but then the opposite is true, right? Which we'll get into in the negatives. But so we have that complex mind facing conflict and pain honestly. Honesty is super important with this card, being honest with ourselves, because we don't want to, the lies we tell ourselves all happen in our mind, right? So having clarity of thought, having clarity of purpose, clarity of our thinking is really important, and that's where honesty comes in. So other words, precise and honed in, decisive, mental resilience, or you might need mental resilience. And then expansion, expansion mode. There we go, expansion mode, right? If we're thinking and we have these ideas and these thoughts, our mind is in a very expansive state. We're like, okay, here's these different ideas I'm having. Let me think of this. Let me think of this in a new way. So it's a very expansive energy in that way. So where we want to learn new things, we want to expand ourselves more beyond this. In terms of reversals, so we have lack of communication, confusion, misinformation, lost and aimless, right? If we're thinking about that arrow not having an aim, not having a direction that it can be pointed in from the Wildwood Tarot. So lost and aimless, lacking focus, in a fog, smoke or air, right? We get that kind of imagery for like the air and how it can be around us. We can have clarity, right? A smoke, depending on the smoke, right? We can have incense smoke, which can help strengthen our clarity of thought, or we can be in a fog, which we can't see anything, right? So sharp tongue that cuts, right? That's where the words that can heal or can hurt. So we have intellect for sinister purpose, where we're getting that double-edged sword here, right? So it's a sword that we can use as a tool for a positive, that we can use to protect ourselves, take care of ourselves, use in our environments to help protect ourselves again, right? And like change our environment around us, but it can also be used to hurt others. So That's where you, that phrase coming in, double-edged sword, right? It's like, okay, it's protect or it can hurt. So we when the Ace of Sword comes in the reverse, we might need to rethink an idea, or maybe we're not sharing that idea right away. We're keeping it kind of inside us. It's not an outward energy like that Ace energy is. It might be more internal in this case because we are worried maybe about it not coming to fruition, or it's just not a fully fledged idea, fully formed idea. We're still working on that clarity of purpose, that clarity of thought, right? So we also, with this card in reverse, get chaos, arguments, destruction, being unproductive and irrational. And then that last word, set of words I wrote was stabbed in the back, right? So our sword's energy, sword's super powerful weapon at the same time as it is a tool. So getting stabbed in the back by our ideas not being fully thought out by others potentially in our life, something kind of going on where we're using this energy, this Ace energy, that can be very being a leadership energy, a pioneering energy, an energy where we're guiding others and helping others, can just as easily turn tyrannical in the reverse, where we're hurting and causing destruction, right? And not getting stabbed in the back as a result of it, whether we're doing that to somebody else or to ourselves. So interesting card. When I was going through, I was trying to figure out which suit to start with, so I actually just drew a card out of one of my tarot decks, and I got the sword. So I was like, okay, let's start there. There'll, of course, be our 10 of our regular suit cards, and then we get into the court cards for a total of 14 in this series. So we'll continue on with our swords here and keep going through. But that is all I have for us today, friends. Ace of Swords energy has been popping up a lot in my life recently, as just these readings usually do, and these information videos. I always time out perfectly with whatever else is going on in my life at the same time, all this common universal energy. But that's what I have for us today, friends. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Bye.